Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with a message of warning, a message of discernment, a message that comes not from the wisdom of man, but from the wisdom of the Almighty. God is speaking, and He is warning His people to open their eyes to see the signs and to understand the spiritual forces at work around them. There are those among us charismatic, charming, yet deceiving, who wear a mask of kindness while hiding hearts full of manipulation and pride. We call them narcissists. But what does God say about these individuals? How does He reveal their true nature? Today, I will share with you the 7 warning signs that God has given us to recognize when we are dealing with a narcissist so that you may protect your heart, your peace, and your destiny. These signs are not mere coincidences, but divine revelations. They are God's way of shielding His children from harm and guiding them toward truth and healing. Narcissists are often incredibly preoccupied with their image, their appearance, and how they are perceived by others. They thrive on admiration, validation, and constant attention. This obsession goes beyond just looking good on the outside. It extends to maintaining a carefully crafted persona, one that is designed to ensure they are always seen in the best light. Their self-worth is intrinsically tied to how others view them, and they will do anything to preserve and enhance that image. For a narcissist, every interaction is an opportunity to showcase their greatness, to impress and to manipulate the narrative of who they are. They are highly sensitive to criticism, even the slightest remark that could challenge the perfection of their image. To them, it's not just about looking good, it's about being seen as flawless, superior, and deserving of admiration at all times. This obsession with image can manifest in various ways, from boasting about accomplishments to exaggerating stories, often to a point where the truth becomes distorted. They often surround themselves with people who reinforce their image and feed their ego. Narcissists carefully choose their friends, partners, and even their career paths based on how these can elevate their status or reflect well on them. They are skilled at identifying individuals who are either under their manipulative tactics or too eager to please. This allows them to create an environment in which their image is constantly praised and their flaws are overlooked or ignored. It's a delicate, almost strategic web they weave to ensure they remain in the center of attention. Narcissists are not just concerned with external appearance. They also become obsessed with creating an image of perfection in their lives. This may include material possessions, status symbols, or an idealized version of their personal and professional achievements. They may boast about their wealth, their accomplishments, or their talents, presenting a version of themselves that is carefully constructed to impress and manipulate. Their obsession with their image can also lead to controlling behaviors. A narcissist might monitor what you wear, how you act, or even who you associate with, as they fear anything or anyone that could tarnish the carefully maintained facade they have built. In relationships, they often make their partners feel as though they are not good enough, using their partner's shortcomings or flaws as a means to elevate themselves. They will subtly or overtly undermine the confidence of others to make themselves appear superior. Behind this obsession is deep insecurity. Narcissists are driven by a need for validation because, at their core, they feel empty. They lack the genuine self-esteem that comes from within, and instead, they rely on external approval to feel worthy. This creates a cycle of dependence on admiration, which they will constantly seek through exaggerated displays of success, charm, or talent. When they do not receive the attention they crave, they may lash out or withdraw in frustration. This obsession with image is not just confined to the public sphere, but extends into their private lives as well. Narcissists may spend an enormous amount of time and energy curating the way they are perceived by their family, friends, and even colleagues. They craft an illusion of perfection, creating an environment where everything is idealized, and anything that threatens that image is either hidden or dismissed. They cannot allow themselves to be seen as vulnerable or imperfect, because that would shatter the carefully constructed identity they have worked so hard to build. Moreover, narcissists often go to great lengths to ensure that no one else can outshine them. If someone else is gaining too much attention or admiration, they will either attempt to overshadow that person or subtly belittle them to regain the focus on themselves. They thrive on being the center of attention and can be ruthless in maintaining that position. If they are not the focal point, they will work tirelessly to bring the conversation, the situation, or the environment back to them, often at the expense of others. Their obsession with their image can be deeply damaging not only to themselves but to those around them. The people closest to a narcissist may feel as though they are constantly being compared, criticized, or manipulated to fit into the narcissist's vision of what they should be. The narcissist's need for validation becomes a heavy burden for those who are constantly expected to reaffirm their inflated self-image. It creates an environment of pressure and discomfort where the narcissist's perception of themselves becomes the only reality that matters, regardless of the truth or impact on others. In the end, the narcissist's obsession with their image is a hollow pursuit. It may provide them with temporary satisfaction and external validation, but it cannot fill the deep void they experience internally. Their need for admiration and superiority is endless because it is rooted in insecurity and a lack of true self-worth. They will always be searching for something external to validate their sense of self, never finding the lasting peace and contentment that comes from within. Narcissists have a tendency to use others as tools for their own personal gain, manipulating people and situations to serve their own needs and desires. This behavior is not driven by mutual respect or genuine connection, but by a constant drive for control and self-advancement. To a narcissist, relationships are transactional. People are simply stepping stones to achieving their personal goals, whether those goals are power, wealth, status, or validation. From the moment they enter your life, they are evaluating how you can serve them, what benefits they can extract from the relationship. This is not always immediately obvious. In the beginning, they may present themselves as charming, attentive, and loving because their primary goal is to make you feel special and valued. But once they have gained your trust and you have become emotionally invested, they shift their focus. The dynamic becomes about what they can get from you rather than what they can offer in return. This manipulation is often subtle, designed to make you feel as though you owe them something or that you need them in your life. They may play on your insecurities, making you feel as though you're not enough without them or that you wouldn't succeed without their help. They may use flattery, praise, or even promises of love and support to create a sense of dependence, convincing you that your success and happiness are tied to their involvement. As long as you are providing them with something they need, whether it's attention, resources, or status, they will be sweet and accommodating. But the moment you stop fulfilling their needs, their behavior may quickly turn cold, distant, or even hostile. A narcissist's need for control extends beyond simple manipulation. They have a way of positioning themselves as the center of attention, ensuring that their desires, emotions, and needs always come first. In a romantic relationship, for example, they may seem loving and attentive, but this is just a tactic to keep you emotionally invested while subtly using your affection to fulfill their own needs. They may pretend to care about your goals, but in reality, they are more interested in how your success or failure reflects on them. They will gladly take credit for your achievements, positioning themselves as your guiding force, even though they did little to contribute. In the workplace, narcissists often climb the corporate ladder by using others as stepping stones. They will align themselves with powerful individuals, ingratiating themselves to superiors while undermining those below them. Their ability to manipulate the dynamics of a group can make them appear indispensable, even when they offer little to the team outside of self-promotion. They may subtly discredit others, taking credit for projects and ideas that were not their own, and sabotaging those who threaten their position. This constant manipulation can create a toxic work environment, one where the narcissist thrives while others suffer. Even in friendships, narcissists tend to be self-serving. They will form relationships based on what they can gain, whether it's status, emotional support, or material resources. Once they have what they want, they may discard the friendship or keep it at a superficial level. The narcissist views others not as equals, but as tools to be used and discarded when no longer necessary. If you fail to meet their expectations, or if you challenge their desires in any way, they will withdraw, retaliate, or create conflict to regain control. Narcissists are experts at exploiting the vulnerabilities of those around them. They will find out what makes you tick, what you're passionate about, or where your weaknesses lie, and they will use this knowledge to manipulate you. If they sense you are feeling insecure, they might offer words of encouragement or promises of support, only to later use your vulnerability against you. They may try to isolate you from other friends or loved ones, creating an environment where you feel you need them more than anyone else. This isolation makes it easier for them to maintain control as they become your primary source of validation and emotional support. This constant use of others for personal gain leaves a trail of destruction. People who have been manipulated by a narcissist often find themselves drained, confused, and emotionally broken. The narcissist, on the other hand, remains unaffected. They rarely experience guilt or remorse for their actions, as they view their behavior as justified by their own sense of entitlement. They believe that others are simply there to serve them, and their lack of empathy allows them to treat people with indifference, even cruelty, without feeling any moral conflict. When the narcissist no longer has any use for someone, they will abandon them with little regard for the emotional toll it may take. The person who once provided them with admiration, validation, or resources will be discarded like a worn-out tool. This can be particularly painful for those who have been manipulated into believing that the relationship was based on genuine care or love. Over time, people who are repeatedly used by narcissists may begin to feel like they have no worth beyond what they can offer. They may question their value or become so accustomed to being taken advantage of that they begin to accept it as normal. This cycle of exploitation can be incredibly damaging as it chips away at their self-esteem and sense of autonomy. But the narcissist will always move on to the next person, the next source of supply, leaving behind a trail of emotional wreckage. Narcissists are known for their lack of empathy, a fundamental characteristic that sets them apart from those who genuinely care about others. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is often completely absent in narcissists. This lack of empathy allows them to manipulate, control, and hurt those around them without experiencing guilt, remorse, or any sense of emotional responsibility. To a narcissist, the emotions and needs of others are either relevant or seen as a means to an end. When a narcissist interacts with others, they are primarily concerned with how the situation affects them, not how it affects the other person. Their inability to recognize or care about the pain, disappointment, or discomfort of others creates an environment where manipulation thrives. They may be quick to invalidate your feelings, dismiss your needs, or belittle your emotions. If you express any distress, they might respond with indifference, blame shifting, or even mockery. Their response to your emotional struggles is often a reflection of their own lack of emotional awareness, as they are unable to step into your shoes and see the world through your perspective. In relationships, this lack of empathy can be particularly damaging. Narcissists often form connections based on what they can extract from others rather than genuine mutual care or understanding. They may be able to mimic empathy at times, imitating the appropriate emotional responses when it suits them, but these displays are shallow and self-serving. They may say the right words, offer the right gestures, but underneath it all there is no true connection. The narcissist's emotional world revolves around their own desires, and they view others as objects to be used for their own emotional gratification. When someone close to a narcissist is in pain, whether due to a loss, a struggle, or an emotional setback, the narcissist often responds with indifference or, at worst, cruelty. Instead of offering comfort or understanding, they may criticize the person for being weak, or they may redirect the conversation back to themselves. They may even take pleasure in the suffering of others, using it as an opportunity to elevate their own sense of superiority. For example, if a friend or partner is facing a difficult situation, the narcissist might downplay the issue or make it about their own experiences, effectively making the other person's pain irrelevant. Their lack of empathy prevents them from offering the support that is needed, and instead they focus on how the situation can reflect back on them. In many cases, the narcissist will actually turn the tables on the person expressing distress. If you become upset or emotional around them, they may accuse you of being overly sensitive or dramatic. This tactic, known as gaslighting, is used to make you question your own reality, and it is a way for the narcissist to avoid taking responsibility for their lack of empathy or their harmful actions. By shifting the blame onto you, they protect their fragile ego and avoid the discomfort of acknowledging their inability to care for you. They may even accuse you of being selfish or unreasonable for expecting them to understand your feelings. The narcissist's lack of empathy also extends to their inability to consider the long-term impact of their actions on others. They may lie, deceive, or manipulate without regard for how their behavior might affect someone else in the future. Their primary concern is their immediate gain, and they often act impulsively without considering the emotional toll their actions might take on the people around them. This short-term focus and disregard for consequences contribute to the cycle of emotional harm they inflict on others. In friendships, the narcissist's lack of empathy often leads to one-sided relationships. They expect others to provide emotional support, validation, and attention, but they offer little in return. They are uninterested in understanding their friends' struggles or offering help in times of need. Their interactions are based solely on their desire for admiration and affirmation. They may go through the motions of friendship, but it is always on their terms. If a friend has a problem, the narcissist may dismiss it, saying things like, "It's not a big deal," or "You'll get over it," minimizing the importance of the other person's feelings in favor of their own comfort. Family dynamics are often just as unhealthy when a narcissist is involved. They may expect family members to cater to their needs, but they are incapable of offering the same level of care or support in return. If a family member experiences hardship or emotional pain, the narcissist may view it as an inconvenience or worse, as an opportunity to reinforce their own superiority. They may criticize or judge the family member for not handling their situation well, without offering any empathy or understanding. In these situations, the narcissist can create an emotionally toxic environment where others are afraid to express their feelings or ask for support, knowing they will not receive the compassion they need. This lack of empathy also manifests in their inability to recognize the emotional needs of a partner. A narcissistic partner may expect constant admiration and validation, but when their partner needs support or affection, they may be met with apathy or criticism. The narcissist will view the emotional needs of their partner as a burden, something that takes away from their own desires. The idea of mutual care and emotional reciprocity is foreign to them because they simply cannot understand why their partner would need anything from them that is not self-serving. Over time, this lack of empathy erodes relationships, leaving those who are involved with the narcissist feeling unseen, unheard, and unimportant. They may begin to feel like they are walking on eggshells, afraid to express their emotions or needs because they fear being dismissed or belittled. The emotional toll can be severe, leading to feelings of confusion, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. The narcissist, however, remains unmoved. Their inability to empathize makes them oblivious to the damage they cause, and they continue on their path of self-interest, leaving a trail of emotional destruction in their wake. Narcissists are skilled at gaslighting and manipulating others, using psychological tactics that make you question your own reality and perception. Gaslighting, in particular, is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation a narcissist uses to maintain control over those around them. At its core, gaslighting is about distorting the truth and making the victim doubt their own memory, judgment, and sanity. The narcissist will systematically dismiss your thoughts, feelings, and experiences, portraying themselves as the only one who truly understands what is happening. The goal is to make you feel confused, vulnerable, and dependent on the narcissist's version of events, effectively isolating you from your own sense of reality. One of the ways a narcissist gaslights is by denying or distorting facts. If you confront them with something they have done or said, they will flat out deny it, even if there is clear evidence to the contrary. For example, if you bring up an argument you had or an action they took that hurt you, they will insist that it never happened, or worse, that you are remembering it incorrectly. They might say, "You're overreacting," or "That never happened, you're just imagining things." By doing this, they force you into a position where you start to question your own memory, making you feel like you're the one at fault for even bringing up the issue. Narcissists are particularly adept at twisting the truth. They can take a situation and reframe it in such a way that it makes you feel responsible for something that was entirely their fault. They will distort the facts and manipulate the narrative to make themselves appear as the victim while you become the aggressor. If you try to explain your perspective or emotions, they will invalidate you, turning your concerns into something trivial or exaggerated. For example, if they've made a hurtful comment, they might tell you, "I was just joking," or "You're too sensitive." This makes you doubt whether you even have a right to be upset, and over time it wears down your confidence in your ability to trust your own instincts. Another tactic narcissists use is projection. Instead of taking responsibility for their own actions, they accuse others of the very behavior they are guilty of. For example, if they've been lying or deceiving you, they might accuse you of being dishonest. If they've been emotionally distant or unkind, they might accuse you of being cold or insensitive. This projection serves two purposes. It deflects attention from their own flaws and puts the focus on your supposed shortcomings. You end up spending so much energy defending yourself from accusations that you lose sight of the actual issue at hand, which is the narcissist's toxic behavior. The narcissist will also use manipulation to create confusion. They will tell you one thing, then do another, causing a constant state of emotional disarray. They might promise to change or make amends, but never follow through. This leaves you constantly waiting for a resolution that never comes, making you doubt your expectations and lower your standards. The narcissist will often give you just enough hope to keep you invested in the relationship or situation, but never enough to bring about real change. They will use intermittent reinforcement, occasional acts of kindness or affection mixed with cruelty or indifference to keep you hooked. This keeps you in a state of uncertainty, always wondering what you did wrong and why things aren't consistent. In addition to gaslighting, narcissists use a range of manipulative behaviors to keep you in a position of emotional vulnerability. They will use guilt tripping to manipulate your actions, making you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. If you don't comply with their desires or expectations, they will make you feel guilty for not being good enough or for not caring enough about them. They may accuse you of being selfish or ungrateful for everything they have done for you, even though their actions were self-serving. By doing this, they seek to control your behavior and emotions, creating a sense of indebtedness that makes it harder for you to assert your boundaries or needs. Narcissists also use silence as a form of manipulation, often referred to as the silent treatment. When they feel threatened, rejected, or frustrated, they may withdraw emotionally or physically, leaving you in a state of confusion and anxiety. The silence is meant to punish you and force you to seek their approval. This can be especially damaging in close relationships where the lack of communication can make you feel abandoned or unworthy. The narcissist may pretend like nothing is wrong, making you feel as though you've done something wrong, when in reality their silence is a calculated move to regain control of the situation. Another method of manipulation is through flattery and idealization. In the beginning of a relationship, the narcissist may shower you with compliments, praise, and affection, making you feel like the most important person in the world. This phase, often referred to as love bombing, is designed to create an intense emotional bond between you and the narcissist, making you feel special and deeply connected. However, once they have secured your attention and affection, the narcissist will begin to devalue you. The praise and admiration will stop, and they will start criticizing, belittling, or dismissing you. This creates a psychological roller coaster where you are constantly seeking the same affection and validation you received during the idealization phase, but now it is hard to come by. Throughout all of these tactics, the narcissist will maintain control by keeping you in a state of emotional uncertainty. They use manipulation to confuse, destabilize, and dominate your thoughts and emotions, making it difficult for you to trust your own experiences. Over time, this can lead to a loss of self-confidence and self-worth, as the narcissist makes you feel like you're always in the wrong. The more you question your reality, the less likely you are to trust your instincts, and the more power the narcissist gains. It's a psychological game of cat and mouse, where the narcissist holds all the cards, and you are left trying to navigate a world that feels increasingly distorted and unreliable. Narcissists are incredibly skilled at controlling and manipulating situations to their advantage, and one of the ways they maintain dominance is through their ability to use others as mere tools to get what they want. This type of behavior is driven by their need for admiration, validation, and control, which can lead them to exploit anyone in their lives without a second thought. To a narcissist, people are not individuals with their own feelings, needs, and rights. They are objects to be used to fulfill the narcissist's desires. This behavior can take many forms, from emotional manipulation to more subtle forms of exploitation, but the underlying theme is always the same: the narcissist uses others for personal gain. In relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, the narcissist will often create a facade of warmth, charm, and generosity. They will put on a mask of being loving, caring, and attentive in order to reel others in. This behavior is a deliberate strategy to gain trust and make people feel valued, creating a false sense of connection. However, the moment the narcissist feels secure in their hold on someone, they begin to show their true nature. The person they once claimed to care about is no longer a partner, friend, or family member. In their eyes, they are simply a tool to be used for self-validation, admiration, or other forms of personal gain. Narcissists thrive on attention and admiration, and they will go to great lengths to ensure that they are the center of focus in every interaction. If they feel threatened by someone else receiving attention or recognition, they will manipulate the situation to divert that attention back to themselves. In relationships, this could mean undermining a partner's achievements or belittling their successes in order to remain the focal point. They may subtly or overtly criticize the person in an effort to lower their confidence, thereby ensuring that the narcissist continues to shine in the spotlight. This constant need for attention can make it difficult for others to maintain their sense of identity, as they are continuously overshadowed by the narcissist's self-centered behaviors. In the workplace, narcissists use others as stepping stones to climb the ladder of success. They will often present themselves as the most capable, knowledgeable, or deserving employee, while simultaneously undermining the contributions and achievements of others. They may take credit for ideas or projects that were not theirs, using flattery and charm to manipulate colleagues into supporting their agenda. They excel at making themselves appear indispensable, often using others' hard work to build their own reputation, while offering little in return. Those around them may find themselves trapped in a cycle of constantly proving their worth, as the narcissist continually takes credit for their efforts and reaps the rewards. Another tactic narcissists use to manipulate others is through guilt. They know how to exploit people's emotions and make them feel responsible for the narcissist's happiness or success. If a person is hesitant to comply with the narcissist's demands or refuses to cater to their needs, the narcissist will turn to guilt tripping. They may say things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me?" Or "You don't care about me at all." These emotional attacks force the person to question their own feelings and prioritize the narcissist's needs over their own. The more the narcissist can make others feel guilty for not meeting their demands, the more power they gain over them. Narcissists also use manipulation to control the behavior and emotions of those around them. They will test boundaries, push limits, and engage in behaviors that are designed to provoke reactions. If they are met with resistance, they will often escalate their tactics, using threats or intimidation to regain control. In some cases, they may even resort to emotional blackmail, threatening to cut off the relationship, withdraw affection, or escalate conflict if their demands are not met. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where the person being manipulated feels as though they must always comply with the narcissist's wishes in order to maintain peace or avoid punishment. One of the most damaging aspects of being used by a narcissist is the emotional toll it takes on a person's sense of self-worth. Over time, a person who is constantly manipulated and exploited by a narcissist can begin to lose sight of their own needs, desires, and boundaries. The narcissist's tactics are designed to make the individual feel inferior, unimportant, or unworthy, leading them to believe that they must earn the narcissist's approval and affection in order to be valued. The victim may start to question their own judgment, second-guess their actions, and feel like they are constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to speak up or assert themselves for fear of provoking the narcissist. The narcissist's exploitation is not limited to emotional manipulation. They may also use financial, social, or material resources to control those around them. They may leverage their influence or connections to secure personal gain, often at the expense of others. In a romantic relationship, for example, the narcissist may control the finances, making the other person financially dependent on them. They may use this financial control to manipulate the other person into staying in the relationship, even if it is unhealthy or unfulfilling. By using money as a tool for dominance, the narcissist ensures that the person feels trapped and unable to leave. When the narcissist no longer has a use for someone, they will discard them with little regard for the emotional impact. Once the person has served their purpose, whether that be providing validation, resources, or support, the narcissist will move on to the next source of supply. They will often do this abruptly and without warning, cutting off all contact and leaving the person feeling abandoned, betrayed, and discarded. This discard phase can be one of the most painful aspects of being used by a narcissist, as it reinforces the idea that the individual was never truly valued for who they were, but only for what they could provide. Ultimately, the narcissist's need for control and dominance leads them to treat others as expendable objects, only valuable as long as they serve a purpose. Once they have extracted all they can from a person, they will move on without hesitation, leaving a trail of emotional destruction in their wake. The constant cycle of exploitation, manipulation, and emotional abuse leaves the victim feeling drained, confused, and unsure of their own worth. The narcissist, however, remains unaffected, moving on to their next victim, continuing their patterns of manipulation and control. Narcissists have a remarkable ability to maintain an illusion of superiority, often convincing those around them that they are special, unique, and deserving of admiration. This illusion is not just a simple facade, it is a carefully constructed narrative they weave to elevate themselves and keep others in a constant state of awe and adoration. This constant need for validation stems from their deep-seated insecurity and fragile self-esteem. They are constantly seeking affirmation, but it is never enough. No amount of praise or admiration can truly fill the void of their insecurity, and yet they continue to damn it, draining those around them in the process. One of the key ways a narcissist reinforces this illusion of superiority is by putting others down. They make sure to highlight their own perceived accomplishments and qualities, often exaggerating or distorting the truth, while simultaneously minimizing or belittling the achievements and attributes of others. In conversations, they will frequently redirect attention to themselves, constantly steering the topic back to their own experiences, accomplishments, or opinions. When someone else tries to share their thoughts or successes, the narcissist will often dismiss them or shift the conversation so that they remain the focal point. This behavior creates an environment where the narcissist is always positioned as the most important person in the room, while others are either overlooked or invalidated. This need for superiority also manifests in their relationships. In romantic partnerships, for instance, a narcissist may idealize their partner at the beginning of the relationship, showering them with attention, gifts, and affection. They make the person feel like they are the center of the narcissist's world, often leading the partner to believe that they have found someone truly extraordinary. However, this idealization is short-lived. Once the narcissist has secured the partner's admiration and affection, they begin to devalue them. The partner is no longer seen as an equal or valued individual. Instead, they are viewed as a means to bolster the narcissist's ego. The partner's thoughts, feelings, and needs are secondary to the narcissist's desires, and they are often ignored or dismissed altogether. This devaluation process is not always overt. Sometimes it can be subtle through passive-aggressive comments, nonverbal cues, or inconsiderate behaviors that chip away at the partner's self-esteem. The narcissist may belittle their partner's appearance, accomplishments, or opinions, making them feel inferior. They may even accuse the partner of being too needy, too emotional, or too demanding when the partner expresses any need for affection or understanding. By doing so, the narcissist maintains control and keeps the partner in a constant state of self-doubt, questioning their own worth and feeling undeserving of the love and attention they once received. Narcissists are also experts at creating an environment of competition, even in relationships where it isn't necessary. They will often position themselves as superior in every way, subtly undermining the achievements or qualities of others to ensure that they are always the one who stands out. This constant comparison leaves those around them feeling like they are constantly falling short or unable to measure up. The narcissist thrives on this dynamic because it reinforces their illusion of superiority. They want to be seen as the best, the most capable, the most successful, and they will do whatever it takes to maintain that image. The narcissist may even sabotage the success or happiness of others to ensure that they remain at the top, whether through gossip, manipulation, or other covert means. This need to be seen as superior also extends to their social circles. Narcissists tend to surround themselves with people who provide them with admiration, validation, and status. They are often drawn to individuals who are highly successful, attractive, or influential, as being associated with these people elevates the narcissist's status. They may pretend to befriend these individuals, but the reality is that the narcissist is using them to boost their own image. If they perceive someone as a threat to their status or position, they may attempt to undermine or discredit that person, often through subtle manipulation or slander. The narcissist's social circle is not based on mutual respect or friendship. It is a carefully curated group of people who serve to validate and support the narcissist's self-image. In addition to their need for validation, narcissists are also terrified of being exposed as flawed or imperfect. They go to great lengths to protect their image, often engaging in defensive behaviors when they feel threatened. If someone dares to point out their mistakes or flaws, the narcissist will react with extreme defensiveness, anger, or even rage. They may deflect blame, accuse others of being overly critical, or attack the person who dared to challenge them. This defensiveness is a reaction to their deep fear of being seen as anything less than perfect. The narcissist cannot tolerate criticism because it shatters the carefully constructed image of superiority they have built around themselves. This fear of exposure leads to the narcissist's tendency to engage in gaslighting and manipulation. When confronted with evidence of their wrongdoing or flaws, they will often twist the narrative to make themselves appear as the victim, further reinforcing their superior position. They may accuse others of being overly sensitive or attacking them unjustly. The goal is to make the other person doubt their own perceptions and to maintain the narcissist's image of being flawless. By doing so, the narcissist ensures that their superiority remains unquestioned and that they continue to receive the admiration and validation they crave. This desperate need to maintain an illusion of superiority can also drive the narcissist to seek out excessive praise and attention from others. They will often boast about their accomplishments, exaggerate their successes, or present themselves as more accomplished than they really are. They are not content with genuine admiration. They want to be constantly showered with praise and recognition. If they do not receive the level of attention they feel they deserve, they may become angry, resentful, or passive-aggressive, lashing out at those they feel are not giving them the validation they need. Their sense of self-worth is entirely dependent on how others perceive them, and they will stop at nothing to ensure that they are always seen in the most favorable light. Ultimately, the narcissist's obsession with superiority is a reflection of their own deep-seated insecurity and fear of being exposed. Beneath the facade of confidence and self-importance lies a fragile sense of self that requires constant validation to survive. The narcissist's need for admiration is insatiable, and no amount of praise or adoration can ever truly satisfy them. This constant craving for superiority drives their behavior, leaving a trail of emotional damage and broken relationships in its wake. Those around the narcissist are left feeling inadequate, unappreciated, and emotionally drained as they are forced to feed the narcissist's insatiable ego.